This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. This is the Police Committee meeting, Thursday, April 8th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Due to the governor's executive order, I am Stan Mellagranda here at the Village Hall, and let's go. Any public comment?
Oh, that was you. Okay.
No public comment. Any disclosure, conflict of interest?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, number 4, approve minutes from March 4th, 2021.
I move to approve. Julie?
I'll second. This is Stan, so we'll do roll call. Julie?
Yep.
Stan? Yes.
I love that. Stan, yes.
Number 5 is a potential new hire.
So we had an offer out to another applicant, and that offer was withdrawn due to ongoing stipulations that he was trying to place on taking the job. So he received a letter or email yesterday saying that we just we're not going to go further with the process with him, but we have already received a interest of another employee to fill a position in the police department. He's on board and ready to go. He's been given a verbal offer already. We discussed at the last police committee meeting that if the one didn't take the offer, we would offer it to the second, and we have offered it to the second, and he has accepted. So now it's just a matter of putting together a written offer, conditional offer of employment, getting it to him, and having him agree to it. So just want to get that out there so we know, everybody knows what the process is going on and where we're at. Any questions about that?
So the first person just wanted things we couldn't come to terms, basically?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to go beyond that, yeah, the salary range was much higher. They asked for a much higher salary range and seniority from a previous employer and all kinds of stuff. So we just withdrew our offer and moved on.
Okay.
All right, number 6 is ILETA conference.
Just want everybody to know we got in touch with some good training down there. I got a contact with a guy that's highly intelligent. I have the email address and stuff, and he seems to be really in tune with what's going on in law enforcement all over the country. He knew things that were going on in California, New York. So I wanted to kind of tap him for some information, being a new chief, to see if there's anything he thinks I should know or be very aware of. I know we're trying to keep a handle on what's going on in Illinois. Yes, the ILETA conference was very successful. It was very worthwhile. We actually met up with a company that we're probably going to talk about in number 8, the item number 8 on this agenda. I think we're going to work out with them. So, but there was a lot of companies there, which I was surprised with ILETA bringing all those people in with the COVID restrictions, and it worked out well. And I gained a wealth of knowledge. Don't know about Sergeant Half, but I know he did get his Glock armor recertification, his Taser recertification, instructorship, and then we hit as much as we could as far as the other trainings go, mental health awareness,
After action report.
Yeah, after action report, just a lot. It's a very large, broad area of knowledge that was gained by both of us. So we're trying to put some of that into play.
Is there anything worth sharing with the others? I know no one likes to write anything up after these things, but.
No, I think the stuff that I went to was geared towards like officer wellness. So those are some of the things to keep an eye out for, as far as having outlets for them if they need something, and our EAP is there for them. There were some presenters that went over things that they had been involved with, like officer-involved shootings, how they dealt with it, and the support structure they had. So it's just a matter of us knowing what kind of support somebody would need if something like that were to happen. The one gentleman, he's actually from a suburb out of Illinois where his involved shooting happened, and he dealt with it very hard for a long time. And he said, it was the support structure of the police department, his wife and family that really got him through it. So we just have to keep in mind, if we have something that happen here, that we get them the support that they need. Hopefully that never happens, but and mental health awareness, that's a big key, and that's another big key word that's going on here lately, just, because police officer involved suicides are through the roof lately. We want to make sure nobody's, and they gave some precursor signs that somebody's stressed or having problems, so it's key things to look out for. So it's just amazing that we can do this job without going through a lot more than what we do. The more people, have more problems than that there are. So, but I just want to update everybody on that. So it was very worthwhile. They have it again, 2 years? They do it every year, but
Every year.
I don't think. Well, I mean, maybe in the budget for next year, we could put in for maybe one person to go. I felt really guilty about two of us going at the same time, especially myself and the sergeant. So maybe we'll send somebody else from the agency there next year.
We survived.
Yeah. Well,
Barely, I'm sure.
well, I found out the day before, after I got back, that I had torn the cartilage between two of my ribs, and I dealt with that all week down there.
Oh.
So
Jeez.
it was I was eating
Acetaminophen.
acetaminophen all week just to try and survive, because it was hard to sleep and everything else. But whatever, that's personal, that's me. But that's better now. So, so any other questions or anything like that for that topic?
All right, we'll move on to number 7, donation to Police Week.
So, Northern Illinois Police Memorial Week is coming up. Start of May 16th. Hold on here. May 12th. No, that's the funeral service. Displays at the mall are Thursday, May 13th at 8, and they run for a week. Years past, the normal processes, they ask for donations, and they did again this year. And in the past years, we have donated $150 to that cause. I would just like to be able to authorize that same donation again this year. I know they didn't have Police Week last year, so there was no donation last year, but I would like to get authorization to donate $150 to the Northern Illinois Police Memorial Week.
And that buys us a spot at the breakfast, right? Or is that something different?
That you don't have to pay for anything for that, I don't believe.
Okay.
The police breakfast is completely separate, but the $150 is just a donation I'd like to put out to them. We always support them as much as we can. So if we get that done again this year, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We can just do a voice, Are you for it, Julie?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Okay, me too. So there you go. Something that doesn't need to go to the board on it, but
That's probably within your spending rights, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it is. I just wanted to put it out to you guys, just so you know that that's going to happen. Just to figure out what line item I want to take it out of is all. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, no matter what. It's only $150, but just so you're aware, I don't want to hide anything, transparency these days.
all right, move on to number 8, firearm trade, new purchase.
So the firearms we're carrying now were purchased in 2013. Industry standard, basically it's set up to where they have a 10-year life on them. in the duty service. We're not quite to the 10 years, but with the ever increasing cost of ammunition, the 40 caliber ammunition is more expensive than a 9mm. It's all getting very hard to come by unless you're going to right to police suppliers. We actually got in touch with Keesler Police Supply when we were down in Missouri and spoke to them. I've been going back and forth with them about trades and purchases. As you can see in the packet that I gave everybody, there's a quote for the cost for 10 pistols, and then they would take our pistols as a trade-in. They would allot us $230 per pistol. It's returned to them in the trade-in. There's also an option if there's officers, we want to give the option to officers, they wanted to buy their duty weapon. And actually five have already said they would like to purchase theirs. I haven't got quite the number on what that purchase price would be. Well, I would assume it'd be the same price as what Keesler is going to give us for a trade-in, $230. I just want to verify that with them, because basically that's going to, the officers would supply a certified check, cashier's check made out to Keesler for the purchase of those firearms. So that would offset the $230 per firearm that we would have gotten from them anyway. So the total cost by the quote from Keesler is $2,967.50. I had planned for this in the budget year for small equipment, and there's $4,000 in there. What I kind of like to do is get approval from you guys to spend up to $3,200 to purchase these and start that process, because I don't know how long Keesler, if they have these firearms on hand, or they have to get them from the manufacturer or what. So they have to be done. The transfers and all that stuff have to happen in a 30-day period. So we don't pay any sales tax, obviously. One of the quotes he sent had $600 in taxes on it, and I verified that we are exempt, and he said yes. So we pay nothing for tax. Now I'm asking for the $3,200 just in case there's some other costs involved in there. I don't think there will be, but there may be some shipping costs to ship the guns to them, but that'll be minimal. So I don't know how you guys want to handle it, if you can vote on it here or.
Well, Julie, what's my spending limit? Is it 5,000?
I don't know. That's in the policies. I'm really not sure. That's something Sally would know probably off the top of her head, but she's not in our meeting, is she?
No. Sally Bennett? No, it's just you and I. She was here. I saw her pull in earlier.
Can I ask, I just have one question.
I think it was.
I thought it was spending limit was 5,000.
I think so. I think it was.
Sure.
I don't remember it. Yeah, but where would it be listed? Would it be in a somewhere in the board information?
Yeah, it would be. I mean.
No, she's not there.
Oh.
Did you guys say Sally is there or no?
No, she's
Check.
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jeff, I have one question, and this is more for my curiosity maybe, but so you're saying that you want to upgrade these early because the ammunition cost is not as favorable, but yet we've got 5 of our officers that want to purchase the used guns with a 10-year average life that has 2 years left. Can you explain that to me? What's going on there?
So I heard 2 years ago, the 40 caliber ammunition is going to be harder and harder to come by. So the ammunition manufacturers are going to stop running multiple runs of that ammunition per year. They're going to run that ammunition type one time a year, and that's it. So number one, it's going to drive up the cost of that ammunition, and it's going to make the availability a lot less. So that's one of the things that I looked at prior to this. I have a list, an ammunition list we got from Kiesler, and the costs. 40 caliber ammunition for 1,000 rounds is $253 right now through them, and we don't usually get them through Kiesler. Whereas a 9mm, we can get 1,000 rounds for $200. May not seem like a lot of savings, but that does add up over time. They've proven through the FBI testing. The FBI originally went to a 40 caliber through its testing process and felt it was a better round. But since that time, the development of a 9mm to a better handgun round and self defense round has increased. So even the FBI has gone back to the 9mm. Now, as far as the 10-year life, that's just a standard. You know, I look at things and they say after 10 years, firearms should be replaced because the amount of ammunition that's gone through them. I just look at it and say, if these people want, I think it's the nostalgia of having their duty firearm that these guys want to buy them because they've carried them for many years. I'm not saying they're not weapons that would not work in a crisis, or you know, they're all up to standard. They're all up to factory standards. No alterations have been made to them or anything like that. So I just want to kind of get ahead of the. Oh, tell me, I thought I cut you off. I just want to get ahead of the game a little bit with this, and purchase these now. That way we can get them out of circulation. We can get a better handgun. I believe our ammunition costs will go down, and over the long run, I think it's going to be a better option for everyone.
And I got a
And you
little,
did budget it this year?
What's that?
You did budget it this year?
Yes, I did. That was small equipment, the 830 line item. $4,000 was put in there for that purpose.
Okay.
and I have some updates from Glock. Glock is actually recommending the Gen 4s and older to be swapped out at 8 years instead of 10.
Okay.
Just because of the slightly more moving parts than there are in Gen 5s. And 9mm production is going to go up, whereas 40 caliber production is going to go down this year.
Yeah.
For the fact that the United States government completely.
Yeah, the manufactured 9mm ammunition have to ramp up production because there's so many more agencies that are using the 9mm now than what was before. The standard caliber, you know, in the past 8 or 10 years was the 40 caliber because the FBI recommended it and they originally went to it. Well, now the FBI's gone back to the 9mm because the ballistics of that ammunition has improved over the years. So I just think it's prudent to do that now while, you know, I have the money and get it taken care of and we can move forward. At least beyond my time here. Did you text her?
I did, but
Okay.
she didn't respond.
Wait for us.
I did
Response.
too. I didn't realize someone
Oh,
else
you
did.
did too? No, she's gonna get a barrage by,
We'll see who she likes better. Who does she
There you
answer
go.
first?
Yep.
What is
Yeah.
your spending limit, Jeff?
Mine's only like 1,500, I think,
Okay.
because I had a bill.
Must be 5,000.
Yeah, because I think it is because there was a bill that came in. for-
$4,700 or something.
It was 32. I think it was 32 something.
There's one with Todd too that I did.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was for, but
Well, we could approve it pending verification of your spending limit, Stan, but it probably should still go on the board agenda as ratification or whatever we do, just to let
Oh,
people
yeah.
know.
I don't know.
yep.
So we'll look for a motion to purchase the firearms not to exceed, what was your price?
I got 2967, but I'd like to go to 30, not to exceed 3200. Just to leave.
Will that include ammo?
No, this is just in case there's a little issue with,
Okay.
because I still need to get a quote from him on how it's gonna work out. That's, you're only gonna be like $200 over, $233 over what the 2967 was.
Okay, so we'll look for a motion to purchase the firearms not to exceed $3,200.
Yeah, pending that that's your authority or your below your limit, Stan, that we would make the recommendation here and ratify it at the board level. Yes, I would say
Yes.
that I will make that motion.
Okay, I will
And
second.
if it's above your limit, then we'll just bring it to the board as a recommendation from committee.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will second. And so do roll call. Julie?
Yes.
Stan? Yes. So that passes.
Okay.
Number 9 is monthly statistics.
So I just sent that out so everybody knows what's going on in the month. Hopefully that's easily readable. That was the same format that Todd was using when he was here. So if you have any questions or concerns about that, I see no trends other than the deceptive practices where people are getting phone calls and they're being gullible about sending money to people. Going to Walmart, getting green dot cards and then giving the information off the cards. We recently just had a business that got scammed on that, about $1,700 business. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I guess people are under the impression that these calls are legitimate. I mean, when somebody calls and says they're from the corporate office of the business, or there's going to be an arrest warrant put out for you if you don't comply and all this type of stuff. A lot of people don't realize it's a bunch of baloney, but we try and get that out to people, and we need to probably do another
Facebook post.
Facebook blitz on it and say, hey, Social Security won't call you, unemployment won't call you, all those types of things, just to make sure that they understand that, if you get a phone call from one of these places, if you have a problem with it, don't give out your information, but call the facility, a known facility at Social Security, to ask them if they were trying to reach them or not. It's almost
what was the business scam?
Somebody called in real early in the morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning, and said they were from the corporate office of the company. So they said, well, we don't want you to make your normal deposit. What we want you to do, you want to do they called it some IDE or
some kind of remote.
Some kind of remote deposit. So
at 1 in the morning, this call came in?
Yeah. So
That wasn't the first flag, huh?
The employee counted the money that was in the safe and money that was on hand, and they instructed them to go to, I think it was a Walgreens, and get green dot cards or whatever they are, and then call them back with the numbers on the cards.
Oh my gosh.
So this not only happened once, because apparently the scammer made a mistake when he tried to get the money off the cards, so they went and did it again.
Oh.
And the total amount was like $1,700 the company lost. They don't believe the employee was complicit with it. They just think it was a mistake, and then they were going to investigate. We tried to look into it a little bit, but the numbers that they used to call, we couldn't get any return on, find out where they came from or anything. So not really a whole lot we can do. And it's a fairly new shift supervisor, so that might have played into a little bit as well. So yeah, that was kind of odd. When I've known the general public, individual people having that happen, but not a corporation or a company. So
Yeah.
that was kind of out of the realm. So, but if you have any questions about the statistics, just trying to keep track of that. Move on to Mr. Half, and I'll let him take my seat and he can talk about his stuff.
Number 10 is Sergeant Half's report. Hello.
Hello.
So I know that we talked about vehicle leasing in the last meeting, and it sounded like it wasn't really going to be feasible for us through Enterprise. Well, Public Works decided to also start going down the same path, and they're working with the Chevy dealership over in Freeport.
Walker.
Yep, Bacher. And Chad shared all the information with me for around a $50,000 vehicle, which is about what our vehicles cost after you outfit them. It came out to about $5,000 to $6,000 annually to lease. So now I'm working with that same dealership and getting information on how much it would cost. I just sent over all of our build information, all the equipment lists, and put them in contact with our builder so that everyone's on the same page. And we can kind of figure it out, because right now we're putting $16,000 a year in the sinking fund so that every 3 years we can purchase a vehicle. Well, if we can maybe shave some of that and lease a vehicle, we can remove our aging 2013 Taurus, which is seeing more trouble than we probably want to deal with.
And the mileage is getting up there as well.
Mileage is about 89,000 right now, so it's probably not a bad idea to start looking into that.
So 5,000 a year per car?
5,000 to 6,000 a year per car.
And how many cars do we have?
We have 3.
Okay.
And while we're on that same subject, because of the cost of a total patrol ready vehicle with the cage and the lights, the siren, the center console, the radio is being that much, I would also like to look at the possibility of getting an administrative vehicle, an unmarked car that doesn't have all that equipment, just has lights and sirens in it, so that we can have all 3 of our marked vehicles being used for patrol purposes. My plan with that is to take the administrative car and have that assigned to the chief. So if the chief needed to respond back to the village while he's off duty, or if he had to attend a meeting or something like that, he's in an unmarked car that has, like I said, just lights and sirens in it, nothing crazy. But we could also utilize that vehicle when we need to send an officer to training. That way we're not taking one of our marked vehicles out of service for a week and driving it wherever it is that they're going to be going. You know, example, we went to the conference 2 weeks ago. We took Jeff's personal vehicle rather than taking a squad car for a couple different reasons. We didn't want to remove a vehicle from service, but we also didn't want to drive around in a billboard all week in a foreign city. You know, people see police, they don't care that it says Village of Winnebago or Pecatonica or Chicago. They see a police car, they expect you to, you know, act. Well, if we had an administrative vehicle, that's something that we wouldn't have to worry about. And like I said, we can still throw lights and sirens in it. If the chief has it and he needs to respond in the middle of the night because there's something happening here, he could do so. So I would imagine the cost on that would be significantly less as far as leasing goes than a vehicle that is $36,000 plus $20,000 in equipment. So I'm kind of exploring that option with the dealership as well, just to see what it might cost us. Because with leasing, that also includes the cost of maintenance. So oil changes and all that would be included in the cost of the lease. So we wouldn't have those line items as inflated as they currently are. So it's something to think about. We can kind of take money out of those line items and put it all together. And I think that this is something that we could do.
Well, then we could phase that in over kind of the lives of the cars, couldn't we? Like the one we just bought, we could just keep on with that one for a few years if we decided to do this leasing and do one car at a time per year or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it gets expensive with the repairs and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And when I talked to him about leasing, he said that he was kind of building it at a 12 to 15,000 a year, or 15,000 mile a year lease. And he was thinking maybe 3 to 5 year lease option. So he's going to send me a bunch of information. I just sent all the build information to him yesterday. So I would imagine that I'll have something either by tomorrow or early next week. But I thought we might have been out of the game with leasing, and then Chad said, "Oh, I got all this info. Let me give it to you." And I really like the info that he gave us.
That
So
was a Chevy dealership, right?
now the Chevy dealership works with a leasing company, so it's all under one roof, and they can get us the government vehicles, the same fleet vehicles at the state bid price. Pecatonica bought their Tahoe through them, and it's outfitted very similar to ours. So I think it'll do really well for us. I'll keep plugging away and getting some more info, and next meeting, hopefully I'll have even more.
Okay.
So I'm on the path with vehicles, 113, which is the Taurus. It's got about 88,000, 89,000 miles on it. Everything seems to be working on it at the moment. It did have a check engine light for a while, but that has worked itself out. We did have a problem with the computer, and that is fixed and working as it should. 117, which is the silver Ford Explorer. That one has about 47,000 miles on it, and it had a screw in the tire, and we replaced that with a tire that we had in our inventory, because we usually keep about 3 to 4 sitting over at the police garage in case, because we don't plug police tires. We won't want to have a catastrophic failure at 100 miles an hour, responding to a call, and have one of those tires blow.
So that tire cost us $20.
So
This year's budget.
that cost us a whole $20 out of that line item for 117. The computer in the chief's vehicle was having some issues, and I think I might have worked it out. Have you had any issues with it?
But I got Kurzak sent out some stuff. They're having some issues with the RMS as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But
overall, not just us.
right. And I think that I got those issues worked out. If not, I'll continue to work on them and make sure that everything runs as smooth as possible.
Working fine now.
As far as the new hire, that's my next item. His FTO field training time would be about 14 weeks. He'd spend the first 6 weeks with me, go spend another 6 weeks with another officer, then come back to me and kind of refine some of the things that he's learned throughout that period. Once he gets hired and the Illinois Training and Standards Board sees that we've submitted paperwork for him to be
Added to the roster.
added to our roster, they will examine his past training to determine how much online training he'll have to do, because he'll have to do a certain portion of online training. When I came to Winnebago, I had to do 80 hours. So I had to do, or actually no, I only do 40 hours. So I had to do 1 week of online class in order to transition into the state of Illinois. So aside from the online training, the new hire will also have to go down to the Southern Illinois Police Academy, which is further south than
Belleville?
it's in Belleville. So it's
Belleville, Illinois.
it's about 300 miles away.
Spit across into Missouri.
Yeah, you
Belleville.
could walk right into Missouri from there. There's an associated cost with that. It's $1,500 for us to send him for the 2-week class. That's room, board, meals, the whole shebang while he's down there. And that's if he was in the room by himself. And if we wanted to get him a roommate, which I wouldn't recommend with COVID, we would save about $310. I don't really think it's worth the savings. It would make more sense for him to be in a room by himself. There's a class in June, one in September, and one in November. So once,
He has to have that within his first year, right?
yep, and that's got to be done within 1 year.
So
if
this
we
new
hire
hire
him-
for second choice needs more training, right?
Yes,
He's already certified part-time.
he's already a certified part-time officer, and he's also an investigator. So but he is a little bit more new and a little bit more fresh than the other candidate
And the
was.
state requires the 2 weeks anyway.
And the state's going to require the 2 weeks because he's going from part-time certification to full-time certification. And once he's done with the 2-week class, he'll have to take a 200-question test. And if he passes the test, which I would imagine that he would, he's good to go. He's certified full-time. If for whatever reason he failed it 3 times, the Training Standards Board would require him to go to the academy, the full 16-week academy.
Yeah, something like that, now 16 weeks.
But
That's about $6,000.
And that's about $6,000 out of our pocket that the state is no longer reimbursing for. But I don't think that'll be an issue. He's
Smart guy.
a smart guy. I think we'll be good. And then after that, he will go to what tonight is what we would call B-side. So he'd go on the night shift for tonight's rotation. So every other weekend off, that's where he'll end up being, unless a more senior officer decides that that's the shift that they want. And then we would decide where he would go from there. I'm going to skip that because that was basically that. And then my last item is I had a question about the COVID money, the Cures Act. Other municipalities in the area, their villages and cities got money, and then some of that money ended up getting filtered down to the police departments to buy equipment or replace some, doing some updating. And I don't know where we stand on that, but it would kind of be nice if our police department could get some of that to maybe update like our PBTs, portable breath tests that the squad cars carry, or even purchase another AED so that all 3 squad cars have them, because right now we only have 2. And if we're going to eventually get another, get that administrative squad car, I would like to make sure that all 3 of the marked police cars have every piece of equipment that they could actually need. So that was something I had a question, and I thought I'd present it to you since you sit on both committees.
Yeah, I think that money went towards the RRWRD, all the debt that we have as a
Okay.
village. That's where we had the upgrades to the office and some of those types of things, but that was all dollar for dollar reimbursed, I think, because it was getting us ready for COVID. Unfortunately, the time to ask for it is when we were doing the budget in the beginning of the year, because we knew that we were going to get that money. So I don't know. I mean, if you guys have a list of things you want, I guess, put them together and we can consider them. But we put, can't remember, Stan, I think it was $100,000 of that money. And I think the reimbursement was a little over 100.
It was like 120.
Otherwise, we would have to issue bonds and other things. So.
Gotcha. It was just, I've met with other sergeants and chiefs from other agencies, and they're like, hey, we got radios, we got computers, and
Bring up the.
You guys got a raise.
well, I didn't. Well, I got my raise from my.
You got a raise, Dick.
And we've got our donations that we received from both Erica Kilty and Micron, so we'll probably end up using some of that for that, or if
Those items.
if we have to send, we can roll that into training or something. But I was thinking, our guys are working day in, day out. They worked all throughout COVID. We were short-staffed. It'd be nice to show, something for them other than just, hey, this is
5%.
Well, other than that though, and I know that they're all, they're working on the union stuff and whatnot, but yeah, just.
Well, I would say, like I said, put your wish list together. It's not going to be 100,000. I can guarantee that, just because
Absolutely not, no.
of that. But yeah, if there are things that make sense, that it's not just me. Obviously, it's finance committee and then the full board that would have to approve that. And we're in better financial shape than we expected to be post-COVID.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I think the goal was, if we had extra money, we would add that to the debt too. So now would be the time to make your case and prioritize and whatever things, and don't throw frivolous stuff out there. Throw stuff that really would be beneficial and everybody would be happy with. That would be my recommendation.
Sounds good. So no carpet for the chief's office then, or?
I think we should get them. What's the luxury mobile in the admin mobile? We got to get them something like a Lamborghini. I don't know.
I like it. All right. Well, thank you. That's all I had for me.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
All right, well, now that musical chairs has been accomplished, we'll go to number 11, which is Chief White's report.
The only thing I have now is been brought up. There's a legislation that passed to the state, which they're now calling a Safety Act. And in that legislation, they did not address the qualified immunity aspect of it. So last week, let's see, I got this email 4/1, so it was prior to that. They initiated another House bill to address qualified immunity. Well, originally in the legislation that was passed, there was supposed to be a committee established to look at qualified immunity, and they would have until I think May 1st or June 1st to look at qualified immunity and see if it would be something they would want to keep or try and not allow for law enforcement officers anymore. Well, in the meantime, they have submitted HB 1727, which is, they're calling it Creates the Bad Apples in Law Enforcement Accountability Act of 2021. And basically what that's doing is removing qualified immunity for law enforcement officers. It's putting us in a scenario where we could be sued directly if somebody felt that their rights were, they were deprived of their civil rights or what, for whatever reason. I'll read this short excerpt I got from the Illinois Chiefs of Police. It creates the Bad Apples in Law Enforcement Accountability Act of 2021, provides that a peace officer subjecting another person to the deprivation of individual rights is liable to the person for appropriate relief, excludes sovereign immunity, statutory immunity, and statutory damages for claims brought under this provisions. Provides that qualified immunity is not a defense to liability under this provision. Allows attorneys' fees and costs to be awarded to the plaintiff. Provides that civil actions brought under this provision must be commenced within 5 years after the cause of action accrues. Requires units of local government to make public disclosures regarding judgments or settlements awarded under this provision. Determines what information is not required to be disclosed by the unit of local government. So some of the questions that have been floating around in chiefs in this area, I know Jeff Selling put out an email yesterday asking if any other chief or agency has been looking at this closely. Apparently this HB 1727 has already passed one of its first hurdles, has now been sent to the next committee for consideration. Let's see if I can find, oh, here it is. He basically set out to see what everybody else was doing. I know Chief O'Shea from Rockford says, I've had discussions with mayor's office back and forth on these needs for indemnification insurance should qualified immunity be taken away. We have not decided anything as of yet, but we'll continue to have these discussions as we watch what Springfield does. So I guess the question is out there, if for some reason, way, shape, or form, the qualified immunity is withdrawn, is the village going to provide any type of indemnification for the officers that are here? That's one of the big questions. I guess, I know at one time they talked about having officers having to purchase an insurance policy, an umbrella policy, if they were to get sued individually, making it a requirement by state law. I haven't read or seen anything about that yet. But I do know I do know officers that do have umbrella policies on themselves already. So it's just a protection for everyone that works here. If it's a requirement of our job to, be in these situations, and I related it to this, I asked Dan Noble from the Illinois Training and Standards Board, I said, who else in the state of Illinois has some type of qualified immunity? And I explained to him, I said, well, judges, they have absolute immunity, so they can't be sued regardless for any reason. They could make a poor decision in court. They can't be sued for it. State's attorneys, same way. They can't be sued because they have a form of immunity as well. And I explained it to Jan. I said, but you have to understand this, that judges can take hours, days, weeks, and sometimes months to make a decision on a case, because they can go back and look at case law. They can go look at, read the statute to make sure it applies, look at previous cases handling similar circumstances. Same with the state's attorney. They have time to read the law, apply the law, check with other lawyers or other state's attorneys to say, have you seen one of these in the past? How did it work out? Whatever. Whereas in situations where qualified immunity allows us for is a decision has to be made in seconds or less. So I don't understand how they can take this away from us when we have to make those decisions that quickly. That may be life-threatening, whereas they sit behind a desk and have, like I said, hours, days, weeks, months to make a decision.
Yeah, Stan, I think this is a topic we probably should put on the board agenda just to bring it up. I mean, obviously, it's nothing that we have to act on now, but the board should be thinking about what position they would take on the matter. And to me, I mean, I can get sued in my job all the time, but I have directors and officers insurance that the bank pays for. So if somebody came after me, that would all be covered. That's obviously the private sector. But to me, my opinion, I think that's coverage the village should supply. I mean, it's
Right.
but my opinion doesn't matter. It's what the board philosophy is and what we do about it.
Well, and I just
So-
heard, I think there was, I believe it was a county to the south of us, Ogle County. Apparently, if there's some indemnification that has to be paid for, the Ogle County board has stepped forward and say, we will pay for whatever coverage you need to do your job. So I don't know if they're just kind of a precursor saying if they do get rid of qualified immunity, we will take care of whatever policies or indemnification needs to occur. So
Has this been told to Frank
no, not yet.
and or Mary?
No, this came out the first of this month, and it's just started going back and forth between the chiefs here.
All right.
Still trying to get a handle on it. I know when they presented it in his legislature, there was a lot of opposition to it. All the sheriff's associations, police associations, FOP, all that stuff were against it. But I did see today that New Mexico actually did away with qualified immunity in that state.
Well, then,
In New York did the same.
I don't know, did New York finally pass
The
theirs?
city of New York
The
did.
city of New York did.
we'll need
Not
to add
today.
this to the
Yep, I already
police
got
committee
or
indemnification.
for Monday.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
Yep,
again,
I got,
I think at
Go
this point, it's a philosophical thing the board needs to talk about. I mean, obviously, we don't have any idea how much this costs, but philosophically, 10,000 foot, because we don't have, we don't even know if we're going this direction yet.
right.
But I think it belongs on the agenda early so that you guys could take some comfort, hopefully, that we would stand behind it and do what we had to do.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just put police officer indemnification on the board agenda for Monday.
and you might want to get a hold of Sally Bennett to see if they're either that or Kelly.
What kind of cost may be involved with that?
Right, to
Or,
add in the-
or,
add in the
or,
policy.
well, is it something that would piggyback on the IML insurance policies? I don't know, or something they could purchase through IML.
Right. And that way, at least you have some type of ammunition to give the
Right.
board, other than like what you just read.
Yeah.
Then if it is that they do drop this, then at least we have, like Julie said, a start to let it be on the
People's
agenda.
minds.
Right.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, maybe Kelly can call IML. I think that's a great idea, Jeff. Just ask him is that a kind of insurance that's available and can give us a ballpark of what it would cost.
I do know, I recall now, IML was one of the entities that was against the passage of that bill. So if I remember correctly, I keep having to go back to an email that
It would certainly make sense that they would be against it,
Yeah.
despite the fact that
Yeah.
they sold insurance, you know, if they're doing their job fairly.
Witness slips were filed at the Illinois Sheriff's Association, Illinois State Association of Counties, the Hispanic Illinois State Law Enforcement Association, the Northwest Municipal Conference, the Illinois FOP Labor Council, the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, the Illinois Municipal League, and many other individual law enforcement officers and friends of law enforcement. So they all filed opposition slips to this. So this bill that they're passing. So I will put that on the agenda for Monday evening.
Okay. You have anything else?
Nope, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, do we have any new business to discuss? Hearing none, we do not need an executive session, so we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Before we do, can we just go over the agenda items for the board so we all know what's going on? So we're gonna have, are we gonna bring up the concept of leasing or no, or just wait until we vet it out a little more?
I think we gotta wait until we get some more information. We don't have all the numbers put together yet, so.
I mean,
we
it
wanna
doesn't
be able
hurt
to
to say
have-
that we're looking at it, but that's fine.
Yep.
That way people will have it in the back of their mind. So it wouldn't be bad to put it on there, just say, hey, we just want you to know we're looking at it, nothing to bring to the board yet, but to me, the
And I
more we
don't-
can put in the back of their mind, the more ready for it, so it's not a shock.
Sure, and I don't know if maybe Public Works is gonna bring it up as well.
Oh, good, I don't know.
So that's totally possible. We'll put it on ours. If they get to it before us, then we can just scratch it.
right. And then the immunity issue, and then the gun issue, right? The spending.
Firearms. And indemnification.
And what about the new hire? Do we,
Do we have to put anything to the board for the new hire?
If we got a new officer, yeah, I'm sure they would want to know about it.
So I just put in there,
An offer has been made.
written offer of or will be, because I don't know if I'll have it written up by Monday, but written
Just
offer.
verbal
of
offer
employment.
then, verbal offer maybe. or whatever.
A written conditional offer of employment. So we got conditional offer of employment, the lease options, the firearms, and indemnification.
Okay,
That's for the board meeting on Monday. Anything else?
not that I know of. All right,
All right.
make my motion to adjourn.
All right, Julie made the motion to adjourn, Stan Malgrana seconds. Julie,
Yes,
Stan, yes.
What time you got, Julie?
5:53.
Okay. There, depending on which one I look at, I got two different numbers.
Whatever you want.
All right, we're all done then.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Julie. Have a good night.
Thanks for texting me.
We didn't hear anything back from Sally Blunt, did we?
No,
Oh, okay.
This meeting is now
Adjourned.